All righty. So, what is that not? Well, it is in Mexico. That is not the Mexican military. That is not the Mexican police. That is actually CJNG, which is the Jalisco New Generational Cartel or New Generation Cartel, Nuevo Cartel. Now, they're formerly known as Los Mata Zetas. So, what they really are is they're a spinoff of the Sinaloa cartel from 2010. Now, they are vying for top position in Latin America. Can you imagine the cartel being that powerful? They're fully militarized and in your face, no problem. Now, they're going to tell you that they answer to no one. I say they answer to the American cartel. And I've shown this in the movie Cages, which is the Fortune 500 corporations, actually Fortune 1000 corporations. That's who these guys answer to. It's who they get paid by mainly. That's whose organizational usage and the money. And believe it or not, they actually buy and sell real estate to launder money through the United States with the help of the American cartel. Scary, isn't it? But our borders are just completely porous. Do you think anybody from the cartel is coming over to the United States? Well, they are. In fact, we have boots on the ground in Arizona, and they will tell you that sometimes there are sections where they openly carry automatic weapons, and the cops just completely avoid those areas. Folks, this is real, right? Not trying to scare you. We don't do fear porn here, but this is real. This is why we need to seal the borders, and we need to stop the American cartel, because this is the funding mechanism and this is the protection unit in the United States for this type of cartel and the shenanigans that are going on. So now, interesting enough, though, I will say right now, the fan is about ready to hit the shit. What did he say? That's right. The fan is going to hit the crap. So why am I saying that? There's massive disclosures, and there's Patriot winds are popping up worldwide right now. Folks, this is God's war, and we are merely soldiers of information, prayer, manifestation, courage, sheer will, and love. All of what the dark forces are not. And this is why we win. Well, welcome and thank you. Please remember to visit screwbiggov.com to gain access to all we offer. It's probably the best way you're going to find us on Telegram and Truth Social and everything else. You just go there, get the links, and there's a lot more going on in that. Now, also, Robert will post all the video clips we use here and the ones we don't use on the show, and he'll post them on a Telegram channel called Renegade Media Channel. Just download and share it and give it to everybody. It's pretty awesome what he has on there. So while you're here, folks, please like, subscribe, follow us, share it to everybody. We appreciate it, right? And make sure you check that you are still subscribed, because there's shenanigans happening on Rumble, unfortunately, and many of you subscribers get unsubscribed. So just double check. Now, for a heads up, I am extremely backlogged on reading my emails and getting some work done. I should be all caught up this weekend with reading emails. So if I haven't responded to you, or for some reason you think you're being jilted, it has nothing to do with that. I just had a huge backlog, and I don't have the support to read all my emails for me. So let me bring on my buddy, the lovely, the beautiful Robert Imbraeli.
Hey, Lewis, I think about you a lot, and I think about this idea of a backlog, and I'm thinking, there's no way the guy's not doing anything every day. He's just hanging out, getting his nails done, getting his hair done,
True.
and,
True.
getting the makeup done before the show.
Oh, it's all
What are you
true.
doing?
Yes. I'm a slacker, Robert. I'm just a slacker. You know me.
We're both serial entrepreneurs who don't know how to stop. I was actually at the chiropractor this morning, and he says, rest is a good thing. I'm like, no, it takes away from the work. Why would I want to do that? It's like, if I could live without sleeping at night, I would be happy. All those
Absolutely.
hours wasted just doing nothing.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I found a supplement that's helping tremendously with energy, which I'll talk about at one point. But I want to test it a little bit longer yet. It's only been a month, and it's been phenomenal. That's been keeping me this way rather than this way, with
Beautiful.
energy. So,
Love it. Love it. Love it.
yep,
That's
yep.
amazing. I can't wait to hear about it.
So, how are you
Now,
today, my friend? A lot going on.
a lot going on. Wow, you saw the show notes, and so I thought, well, we might as well just get into it, right? So it's a lot going on. Let's start with one of the deep state witches and from her coven, Nikki Haley. She actually wins the backing from the warlocks themselves, the Koch network.
Oh,
Now,
brother.
who are the Kochs? The Kochs were brothers. Anyways, the Koch network are deep state conservatives, right? Very like, have you ever heard of the Lincoln Project? It's all a sham, right? So they're deep state conservatives. They have very large pockets, and they were anti-Trumpers. And guess what? They threw their support behind a wicked witch of the West, Nikki Haley herself. So that's going to be very interesting. So they're desperate. The deep state is so desperate to make sure whatever they do, it's not going to be President Trump, that this is one of their big moves. And I think it may be enough to put her in front of DeSantis. I don't see it even coming close to being enough to taking Trump out, though. This is a Hail Mary, and it's not going to go anywhere.
We
What do
saw this, Lewis, several weeks back. We posited on this show, actually. We talked about it and we said, DeSantis is going down in flames. He's ruined his political capital. He's spoiled it, burned it all. Not even Floridians support him anymore. The greatest governor ever, and he's done so great things for Florida. And then he goes in this direction, and who knows what he was thinking? Who knows who paid him off or whatnot? But he went down in flames, and they could see he's going nowhere. So they need the counter, and who's the next one? Well, it's going to be Nikki Haley. Why? Because she'll play the role. If
That's
she
right.
were to get into power, and the hope is, it's not about her beating Trump. The hope is Trump is going to get indicted, arrested. He's going to be removed from the ballots so that the number two will actually be the number one. Remember, it's all about the primaries, your words,
Right.
right? It's all
That's
about the
right.
primaries. So you get rid of Trump in the primaries, and then they push her up because the
Mhm.
media amplifies. So that's the guess. It looks like that's the game plan now. Is they're going to try to make her number two, so she would get in, and she would be up against,
That they'll still have a chance on taking him out. So they have multiple avenues here. Now, all that being said, I still don't think there's going to be a 2024 election. We'll see. I think everything's going to the shit is going to hit the fan way before then, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting. There's a lot of weird optics out there right now. Um,
weird is an interesting word.
yeah,
Yeah, you could say that.
crazy, odd, wacky. Let's throw up the next image. This is a great example of some weird optics.
Unbelievable is the word.
So, who's that? Well, that is Argentina's new president-elect, Milei, I believe you pronounce it. I could be wrong. Milei, I don't know. Anyways, who's he with? Pedo Bill Clinton himself. Isn't that interesting? Now, is he just all talk about him being for we the people, and this is just how he weaseled his way into office? I don't know. I can tell you, he just met with a Zionist and popped on a yarmulke. Then he meets with Bill Clinton, and then the World Economic Forum. Guess what else came? So let's beware of this guy. Now, is he playing the same game that Trump played, where he cozies up everybody, he's part of being an infiltrator, get inside, so on and so forth? I don't know. I'm very, very wary of this already because all of this stuff happened, which just in the last few days.
Yeah, and you said it exactly right. We don't know, and I think that's part of the game here is we don't know if he's playing the game. He did go attend WEF, but he was staunchly against it. Probably after seeing what it was all about and learning about what those people are doing or what they're planning to do. So the question is he still connected? We don't have clarity there, right? Is he playing the game? Is he going along to get along, and then he's going to drop the dynamite? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's the same thing I feel about Mike Johnson. Same darn thing. It's like, everyone was all excited about him, and I'm like, I'm taking a wait and see. Where's the 40,000 hours of video?
Yep.
I've been watching. I didn't see 40,000 hours of video yet. I don't know about you.
There's not even 4,000 out yet.
Yeah.
So they're all in Lindsey Graham mode. And if anybody needs to know what Lindsey Graham mode is, Lindsey Graham will bluster at the highest level possible and accomplish absolute zero. In fact, he'll even backstab you when you're not looking. So I'm saying don't trust anybody. I say they're all actors on the scene, and even more reason why we the people need to take action, because all the wins are coming from we the people right now.
Yep.
There's wins in public. There's wins in even in Parliament. There's wins in elections. There's wins in local schools. There's even wins now happening in the judicial system. Okay, but it all comes back to one thing: we the people are pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and the infrastructure of the deep state is breaking down right now. So let's not count on any of these clowns. They're all freaking clowns out there, right? Let's just say, okay, look, that's good optics. Cool. That's bad optics. Okay, let's move forward. And I believe we're starting to get into that mindset right now. And that's why I'm so excited about the future, because we understand this isn't President Trump's war. This is God's war. You guys pick what God, who, whatever you're believing in. I believe in a beautiful higher power. And I believe this is absolutely the time for us right now to activate as soldiers and take down this infrastructure. FBI, I'm not talking about violence, so go ahead, back off. Yet, so the fact is, we have all the tools that we need to restructure all of our systems. And when I say all of our systems, I mean a big government, I mean big agriculture, big pharma, big education. We have all the tools right now to restructure it ourselves. And it's been thrown back to we the people several times from President Trump and the number 17, the boards, everything. We just need to take the ball. And I actually feel like we are right now, which is beautiful. We just need to take it to a whole nother level, because as we're going to talk about in our next story, maybe there is some big things happening in the background. I certainly think there are.
We need to be reminded, and I think that's what's going on right now, is we're being reminded that we do have the power. that line in, what was that, in the Wizard of Oz, where she says, you've had the power all along. Right? Yeah. You just need that reminder that we have it. We do have it. And with this Millet and Mike Johnson and all these guys who are in these positions, if they're really in favor of the populace, right, which is us, we're the populace. If they're serving us, then we need to hold them accountable. We can't just let them go, well, he's elected now. Now we've got to wait for the next election 4 years, 5 years down the road. No. We're on them. We don't let the pressure off. Just because we put them in power, it's the worst thing we can do, and we've seen it happen so many times. We get a guy we think is the right guy, he's going to do all these wonderful things, and they get in power, and all of a sudden they get absorbed into the system. And they forget about who they're there to serve. So we've got to hold their feet to the fire. We can't stop. We've got to keep the pressure on. We've got to keep making the phone calls and sending the letters and activating and letting people know what's going on to make them aware, because the media is not going to do it. They're going to side with them. Once they get absorbed into the system, the media is on their side, and it protects them.
Yeah, well, we the people have to remember they're public servants. So they need to sit down and listen to us, not vice versa.
Right.
But we're starting to figure it out. So more people need to just still hold them account and go, whoa, you work for us. If you don't want to work for us, get the hell out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You work for us, but we're also going to have a restructuring of everything. I mean, the Constitution's been manipulated. All laws have been manipulated. We have 90% of the laws on the books can just go bye-bye, and we're going to be in great shape. So there's a lot of work that we're going to have to do over the next few decades to rewrite our government and reproduce it in the way it should be, which should be very, very minimal, very minimal.
You know, there's a line out there that people say that every one of us are breaking federal laws every single day without knowing it, because there's so many laws on the books. It's just existing in your normal daily life. You're breaking laws that are on the books that are not enforced. So it leaves you into a situation where you could very easily trip into a police state, because like the FBI informant said on that police state movie, he said, show me the guy and I'll show you the crime. It's like, give me a name and, I'll tell you which laws he's broken, and then we could put him away. And it's very scary to be in that position. So yeah, a lot of the laws need to be removed. A lot of them are not constitutional, but nobody's ever fought them. They passed them. We got so many here in California. We can list them off for hours. The laws here we have just in California that are unconstitutional, but nobody's ever fighting them. And if nobody brings it to a head and puts pressure on it, it gets forgotten. And once the law's on the books, man, it's really hard, it seems, to get them off the books, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is. In fact, many people don't know this, and they should be very aware of this, that the feds have a law on the books that is their ace in the hole. Anytime they want a guy, it doesn't matter if they have evidence or anything on them, they pull out something called conspiracy. And the law conspiracy it's a federal law, it is so vague that it could be two people talking about a subject together that just happened to lead to some crime, whether they were involved or not involved. But here's the key. Conspiracy holds about a 30-year sentence. No big deal, right? And it's got over a 95% conviction rate. Well, how is it possible to have a 95% conviction rate? Because when they have nothing on you and they say, here's 30 years in front of you, people plead it out.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, when they plead it out, you know where it usually pleads? Below 3 years, sometimes months. So if they really had anything, they would never drop from 30 years to 3 years. But they do, because it is a BS law that is completely to create a police state and keep us in control. So when they don't have anything and they get frustrated that they couldn't get any evidence, they'll pull out conspiracy and they'll throw that in front of you. You
meant to say they were going to keep us under control, I think.
Under control.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so this is a game that they play, and we absolutely need to be aware of these things, because that's how we can prevent tyranny.
And we always talk about the entrepreneur, the successful ones. If you think about it from a motivational perspective, Lewis, you and I are business people. We have a business mindset. We see everything a lot of times through that lens. Certainly I do. And we know that the people who follow all the rules, do they become successful or they don't become successful?
Right.
Who are the ones that become successful? The ones who break the rules, or at least push against them at very least, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So here's a very interesting. So, there's a very, how do we say it? This character is within the Patriot movement. He creates division. So it's a love-or-hate relationship they have with this guy. Now, I'm a weirdo because I'm kind of in the middle of some of the stuff he does. I love some of the stuff I'm not feeling so great about. But I've been saying something for a long, long time. And we've been saying here on this channel, and it's very interesting, I think, and it's going to connect to this story, is we talk about a lot that within this war, it is still an active war. So my belief system is that the good guys and the bad guys, like any war that's coming to an end, will be negotiating a truce or whatever parameters they have. Many wars negotiate for land, some negotiate for money, some negotiate for prisoner swaps. There's a whole bunch of things that go on. I believe that the bad guys have held some crazy leverage over the good guys for a lot of the World Jewish Congress. The first thing you need to know is that he was indicted in Spain in 2015 for defrauding pensioners, as well as the head of the British and French branches of the Rothschilds family. They're offering to hand over control of the Western financial system to the Planetary Liberation Alliance. Now, I know nothing about the PLA or the alliance, and I know people say there's a federation, there's an alliance, that the aliens are controlling things, whatever. I'm not even giving into that. That may or may not be. I don't pretend to know what I don't know. But it makes sense to me that there would be some form of a negotiation at this point, because clearly everything's coming to the head. So they're asking for amnesty in return. Now, this offer came via the new head of the Committee of 300. And that's who replaced Queen Elizabeth, and it's not Charles, by the way. The Illuminati Council has granted this individual the power to negotiate with the alliance. Now, a jubilee, as in a one-off cancellation of all debts, public and private, must be carried out. Now, this will sound a lot like Nasara Jasara to people, but these are supposedly, by the way, I have no proof of this, but it is very interesting to have this conversation. These are supposedly what the good guys are telling the bad guys. They're saying, we need a jubilee, as in a one-off cancellation of all debts, public and private. This is an order for us to accept your terms. The wealth of the world stolen by creating money out of nothing and charging interest on it must be returned. The BIS, the IMF, the World Bank, the UN, etc., must be replaced by something that actually serves the people of the planet. Now, remember, these are all targeted towards the Rothschilds. So if you've studied the Rothschilds and you've studied the 13 families and you've studied the Rockefellers, you know this is the wheelhouse of the Rothschilds, which ultimately is the Khazarian Mafia. It's not always the full Illuminati. That's a whole nother story. But guys, there's a level of different spellcasters within inside of that. But let's just go with Khazarian Mafia. So they say all the technologies such as hydrogen and anti-gravity that have been suppressed by the Khazarian Mafia must be released to the public. A massive campaign to end poverty and stop environmental destruction must be started. Democracy, freedom of the press, and the rule of law must be restored in the Western countries hijacked by the Khazarian Mafia. I have a challenge with that because you use the word democracy, but that's for another day. It says the true hidden history of the planet must be disclosed to the people on all the major media. Well, the Rothschilds aren't completely in control of the major media, but they do have massive influence. As far as the amnesty is concerned, now this is very interesting. The alliance itself will not take any aggressive actions against the Khazarian Mafia. That's not good. So that's a big reconciliation. If this is true, this would tell you that the White Hats are not winning as much as we're told they are, because they would not just give them blanket immunity or amnesty. Now, it does say, however, the various legal actions against them for judicial processes. So maybe this is like a good loophole that we can still hold them accountable. That's what it sounds like they may be saying. Again, I'm not telling you I believe this or not. I'm saying it's a very interesting article. Now, the next step will be meetings in person between representatives of the Alliance and those of the Illuminati Council. This will take time as travel arrangements, etc., need to be made. The KM, Khazarian Mafia, are trying to surrender now because they fear a pogrom to end all pogroms will be carried out by the backers of, guess who? U.S. President Donald Trump. So clearly they want to get this done before he's in what we call public control. Now, this is interesting, and I did verify this, by the way. Furthermore, the Russian army has arrived at the borders of Israel and at Joe Biden. What do you think, Robert?
This was on, I believe, Monday's newsletter. I have not actually read it yet because I normally read Fulford on Mondays when it comes out. There's a lot of it here that's him. Those are him positing, like the Jubilee. He's been pushing for that, so that those are his words, not not coming from any other source, but it's coming from him. So it's a little hard to separate it sometimes. It's like, what are his, because he's interjecting himself into this, right?
Well, here's my challenge with him, and I'm so glad you brought this up. He's not writing it like that, though. He's writing it
Correct.
as if this is the alliance has proposed this to them.
Yeah.
So if that's true, that means Ben has some major influence on the alliance, or he's projecting what he wants with inside of us, and then the story loses some credibility in my part.
I really feel like he's projecting. I don't know that he has the influence that he thinks he has. If you look at his backstory and the journalism stuff that he's done and everything, it's like he doesn't seem to be the chosen one that would be giving all this information. And he is interjecting a lot in here. The Nasara theme running throughout this whole thing. That's him. That's him pushing that. He's been pushing it for, I've been reading him now for 3 years. He's been pushing that.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. Now, there are some basic things that make complete sense, for sure. Like there is absolute free energy out there. We just need to have it not suppressed anymore. And all I say is just don't suppress it. Let us reinvent it. We can, within 2 years, we can reinvent it and have it worldwide. When I say we the people, just stop stepping on our neck. That's all I say. You don't have to give us the patents. You don't have to release all that. You don't have to do any of that, because we have the intelligence and we have the apparatus to recreate this stuff right away. Right? We've had people studying Nicholas Tesla for a long time, and they have perfected some of his things. By the way, in free energy, Tesla stuff may be a downgrade from what's really out there. I know that I don't want to offend any of you Tesla lovers, but that's just seems to be a fact. Getting rid of illegal debt, that makes sense, to get rid of illegal debt. But some debt's legit, you take out a legitimate loan for something. Some of the debt is legit, and some of it is written illegally on bad contracts. So
his point being that the interest rates are way too high. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, interest rates now soaring at 21%. When I grew up and when you grew up, when we thought 20% interest, that was what you got from a loan shark. If you borrowed from the mob, that's 20% you'd pay on it. And now that's like, it's every day. And I've actually seen credit card offers people have sent me 218% interest for hard money loans. I'm like, what? So I would get where he's going with that, because it's like, that's really criminal. That's really theft, if you will. And even the credit cards, I mean, they're taking 3.5%, 4% on every transaction. So every time you use a credit card, the credit card companies are getting paid. These are monstrosities. Visa, Master, American Express, Discover, all the rest of them. They're making tremendous money. Well, great if they're providing a service. I don't mind paying them a little bit, but they're getting paid way too much for the service they're providing, right? It's way over the top. So what he's talking about,
it's all fake money anyways. It's all fake money anyway.
Yeah, and what he's talking about here is, hey, let's get back to a system that's more fair. And you look at XRP. One of the big things they talk about with XRP is the transaction fees are very, very low. They're very minimum. They're almost non-existent, and it's instant. So that would if that were to come to pass, that would do away with all credit cards, right? And all the credit card fees, the merchant fees, and everything else. That would allow all merchants to lower their prices 3%, 4%, 5% lower, and they'd still make the same money. I mean, I look here at the farm and how much we spend each year in merchant fees. It's crazy. It's a huge chunk of money.
Well, there's games they play with merchant fees too, and this is what people don't understand. So they there's a per charge on every single charge, and sometimes it's as low as 10 cents, sometimes it's as high as 50 cents, right? There's a percentage, but it's based on what type of credit card you have. So there's a debit card percentage you pay. If you have a different type of credit card that they don't like, you pay a much higher percentage. If it's an international card, you pay through the roof. If it's a Discover, oh my God, forget about it, or American Express. So there's so many crazy, but it's the same game. So if there's a 5-cent tax on gas in your state, you're going to see a 15-cent increase at the pumps, because that's the game that these thieves play. Yeah. So I know we're getting off track here, but
No, we're on because we are talking about the economy, and what he's talking about is returning all that interest in it. This is again him. This is not the alliance. This is him talking that he wants all that interest that we've paid over the years. You'd never be able to calculate it. I mean, how much interest did you pay over the last 50 years, Lewis?
Yeah,
How
no,
would I know, right? No way to track that.
it starts with two and ends up with much.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
that's the whole thing. So it's like you hear that and it's like, yeah, okay, Jubilee, wipe out all your debt. Okay, yeah, if we switch to a new financial system, I get that, a one-time Jubilee. But again, that's his desire that he's putting in there.
Yeah, but it's being written as if it's an
Correct.
actual conversation,
Correct.
which is be interesting if it was. And I'm not going to pretend he could be much more connected than we are. So I pick out what makes sense. This is what we do here. We pick out what makes sense and what we know, right? Well, a debt jubilee could make sense, but who knows the wealth of the world stolen by creating money. That's never made sense to me that they're going to give all the money back, because what happens is when you flood the market with money, your supply and demand will be so warped that you're going to be paying 10 times for everything immediately, and your money suddenly isn't worth anything anymore. So that is nonsense when I hear that. Getting rid of those institutions, the nefarious institutions, absolutely. Putting something back in place, why do we even need them? So I don't completely agree with that, right? The technology things we covered. I do agree with the ending poverty, but let's forget about ending poverty. Let's end hunger. There's and Israel, but we can't supply food to just 7 million people. We could.
Yeah.
We choose not to.
Well, we send the money there, but it comes back, right? It's
Yeah,
payouts
yeah.
and
What do
Beulah
you mean we don't send it there? We sent them $100 million.
and they only got $50.
Yeah,
That's all they were
exactly.
able to keep. Everything else had to come back.
And they had to fight for it in the street.
Yep,
It's just
literally.
ludicrous. So it is a very interesting conversation, but you know more about him than I do, but it did seem like there was some projecting in here, and you nailed it,
Yeah,
right?
there is, absolutely is, and he's been doing that for a long time. And it's interesting. After a while, you get to know his cadence, and you get to see where it's him and where it's someone else. You know what I mean? When it's the real stuff, it's I don't know. You can start to spot it after a while. Like I could spot it clearly because I've been reading him for so long. But
Right.
yeah, like you said, I mean, there's some really good stuff in there. Everyone looks to, and they use the measuring stick of, well, what they said did come true. That's the wrong measuring stick, I think, in this particular environment. Typically, that would be true.
Time soon, and he was
He was off by almost a year.
off by about a year.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, so he was off by about a year, but he still did nail it. And when he told, and the thing though is a couple of people in the room, they ran with it, and I never said a word, never
Yeah.
said a peep, because I'm not going to run with that type of information.
Yeah.
Now there's a very interesting. A judge orders the disclosure of what? The Seth Rich laptop and much more. I think this is very interesting. So I'll just read the order here. It is further ordered that the government and Huddleston shall recommend to the court a timeline for the disclosure of information on Seth Rich's personal laptop, Seth Rich's work laptop, the DVD, and the tape drive within 14 days following the issuance of this memorandum. So they're referring to this notice right here, opinion and order. And it is so ordered, signed yesterday by District Judge Amos Mazant. Now, why do I think this is a bigger deal than most? Because when the Trump attorneys, like yesterday, they were denied something because they request it, they order it, and then the DOJ or whoever just denies it, right? It's going to be a lot harder to deny it when a United States District Judge has signed off on this order. So one of two things are going to happen. Either in 14 days, information is going to get out, but the reality is, how fast will we see it? Just look at the 40,000 hours of tapes that we're not seeing. So it could be another stall, but it's very interesting that it's reached this point, because Trump has always said we need to do it legally and lawfully, right? And I think this would be an illustration of what's going on there, the legal and the lawfully. Now, folks, don't get upset if you don't see anything in 14 days or for some reason this gets turned down or it has to go to a higher court. That's beautiful because it all helps us with the optics of the deep state cover-up, all this stuff. What do you think, Robert?
I go one step further. I think what's going to happen is they're going to say, we don't really know where that laptop is. And you know that tape drive that you're looking for? They don't make those anymore. We can't read that tape. I think they're going to have a bunch of excuses why they can't deliver on it. Because if they were to deliver on this, the discovery and the information we would find on that would blow this whole thing wide open.
Well,
I mean, this would put Julian Assange.
Thank you.
Right?
Those are that's the words right there. Yeah. This will lead back to Julian Assange, and Julian Assange will immediately become hyper credible, right? And there's going to be a major push for his release.
Yep.
So, but we need something like this. Something like this will happen. The question is this the time? I have a feeling they're going to figure a way to stall this. To go as far as to say we just lost it, maybe that's been their MO.
Their MO, yeah. We can't find it. It got misplaced.
A lot.
Yep.
But remember, when they're saying we just lost it, they're generally saying this to lower level attorneys or personal attorneys of people. Right. They're not saying it to a United States district judge. Now, if they say we just lost it to the judge, let's see what type of teeth this judge has and say, great, well, we're going to arrest all of you. You know what I mean? Suddenly that's that.
I think it was 2014, 2015, it was a while ago.
I do not remember.
Yeah. So, is that hard drive still even accessible at this point?
2015-ish, you know what I mean?
2015-ish, yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, we're 2023, 2024. We're talking 9 years ago now. Is that hard drive still even accessible?
Yeah. Was there a Bleach and a Bit involved?
Maybe.
You never know.
Bleach
right?
Bit's an incredible software for cleaning up your hard drive if you don't want anybody to read it. And by the way, just reformatting your hard drive is never enough. It has to be reformatted literally 5 times. And every bit has to be reformatted 5 times for it to be completely erased. And that's what this Bleach Bit software does. It just keeps writing and writing and writing and writing over every part of the hard drive to make sure it can't be read.
Right, you criminal. Thank you for that.
Well, people got to know. I like to keep them informed.
So, Biden found some new supporters.
Hey, he did.
Republicans for Biden. Okay. So let's be real. I would put money on it, if we can interview these people and really get down to nitty gritty, that they're not even Republicans. Yep. Not that no Republicans wear masks, but they're few and far between compared to the brainwashed left. What do you think?
I think you're right. It's hard to imagine a Trump supporter would be for Biden. I mean, that's a cliff too high to jump. It's like no one's going to do that. Who really, if you're a Trump supporter, you probably understand what's going on. You probably have a world view that says people are better when they're empowered and they can take care of their own lives and they can do things that they want to do, and the whole idea of freedom. And if you believe any of that, how could you possibly go in the direction of communism? Because I mean, that's what Biden represents at this point: fascism, Marxism, right into communism. How could you go in that direction?
Yeah, it's, there is a kind of a little anomaly that I've seen in my, they use language like, we're not going to talk to you anymore. We're not going to spend time to you, because we understand the indoctrination through the so-called education system, and they come at them hard. But my wife has seen this. She's had some people that are kind of getting black-pilled on Trump, and it turns out to be it's from their grandchildren.
Wow.
Of all people, and they gaslight them, by the way. So they don't even get a word in edgewise. And I have seen some of those flip, and it's really, really sad. I think it's elderly abuse, frankly. If you're taking advantage of somebody like that, and you pressure them so much that they're willing to flip on it. But other than that, I would say that these are most likely Democrats that are paid or put up to this as for optics.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. They're not
So
Trump supporters in the true sense of the word. Now, we always have fringe Trump supporters, right? We have people who have been coerced into that directions, but they've been lifelong Democrats anyway, right?
right.
And that U-turn is not too hard for them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I believe we're 80-20 Trump support right now. And I know that sounds crazy, but we'll see, right? We'll see.
He won all 50 states. Let's just put it
He
there.
did.
Yeah.
He did. So what are you going to say, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Schellenberger, but Michael Schellenberger has a you guys should follow him on Twitter, and he's working with Alex Gutentag and you know this guy Matt Taibbi,
Mm-hmm.
and on the CTIL files, and they just released their first one, and they have a lot more coming out. So this is very interesting because this talks about the U.S. and the U.K. military, the contractors are creating they have a sweeping plan for global censorship in 2018. Now, the documents show this. The question is, did they implement it? I think they have implemented it. But isn't it amazing that you would have the US and the Brits, the military, the contractors are actually working to censor the American people? Again, the whole military apparatus, folks, we've been telling you this, and the three-letter agencies, right? Look at we the people, with patriot thoughts. You are the enemy. Here's the irony. If you pay taxes, you actually are paying for your enemy. Just crazy. But I think it's going to interest. I'm going to follow this story because it seems like there's a lot that's going to be coming out on this. And that's just number one. I believe he already has another few up on Twitter already. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, there's a story coming out and how much they went after Trump supporters too that were following Trump on Twitter. And it's really scary to think that we literally are the enemy in their eyes. We are the enemy. Why are we the enemy? Because we love the country, because we love our freedom, but that's going completely against their narrative. And the only way they can push their narrative through is they've got to convert all of us into their way of thinking. It's crazy. It's I would have never grown up in this country and thought, well, I could be the enemy. No way. I could, but here we are. We're there. Well, now we're the enemy.
Well, let's add some context to that. I'll fast forward. So what Robert's talking about is attorneys for the Justice Department. They've revealed that there's documents that connected to their search warrant for Donald Trump's Twitter account, indicating that prosecutors collected a massive collection of data about President Trump's social media activity. Guess what it includes? Information on every account that you liked, followed, or if you retweeted him.
Yep.
That's what Robert's talking about. You are the absolute target, and from the attorneys for the Justice Department. It's just baffling how sophisticated this is. And as you know, but it's leaking out. We just found out that all the money being spent for air marshals are going to trace and target J6. Or anybody that was in and around J6 on that date. So it's coming. It's coming.
There was a post by one of our Truth Tour teammates, and she posted it, and she said, if you're not on a government watch list yet, you should be ashamed of yourself. So, yeah.
Makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Makes sense. Very true, though. I think very true. All right. So Bidenomics, how's it working out for everybody?
It's amazing.
Scary, huh?
What the problem is?
I have no idea what the problem is. I mean, I like paying more for my groceries and double for gas. You know, why not?
So it's it's coming out that it's costing the average American under Bidenomics an extra $11,400 a year.
Mm-hmm.
$11,400 a year. Now, folks, let's say you make $56,000 a year. That's 20% of your income just got washed away. Goodbye. Like that. Very interesting too is, and I can correlate this to this thing that's really frustrating me. So all the news media right now are jumping all over. There's record sales for Black Friday and blah 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 blah. Okay, hold on. When you take out the inflation from that, none of them tell you that, by the way. I don't even think Fox is doing it. When you take out the inflation, these sales would be the lowest in decades, percentage-wise. So they're not buying more. They're spending virtually the same, a little bit more money, but it's based on inflation. It's not based on them buying more things. But the way it's all manipulated, and you have the pundits on every news channel right now just saying, see how wonderful Bidenomics are right now. People are spending more money for the holidays. This is a great, great, great sign. Okay. And then they manipulated it by the fact is food and gas went down recently, had a 10% drop, which was done intentionally because they cost average with inflation. But what they don't tell you is they did that so they can just show that there's a 3% increase, right? If you take out those metrics, the increase is like 7 to 8%. But they play the game. You guys are always being effed with. But this is very scary, I think, when it's costing you on average 20% more just to live.
Go one further. We're out here in the country, and what we find a lot of times is people can no longer feed their pets. And what they do is they drive out to the country and they say, "Good luck, pet." Dog out the door, cat out the door, and they drive off.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right? Happens a lot. We're seeing it a lot more this year than we've ever seen it. When the dogs get together and they travel here in packs now. So you've got 10, 15 dogs in it's just like, these are dogs that were family pets at some point that the family said, can't afford it anymore. Got to cut something, and something's got to go. And sorry, you're not a two-legged family member. Out you go.
Yeah, it's sad. Well, they may survive. In the Philippines, they would end up on your plate.
That's right. Yep.
Or Vietnam. So, it looks like Rumble's getting active. They've just filed a defamation lawsuit against a company called Check My Ads. I actually think they're filing it against the co-founders, but so Rumble, as you know, you're on it right now, is a cloud service provider, but they filed a lawsuit, it was today or yesterday, in federal court in Florida against the two co-founders of a purported watchdog organization. And I think it's very interesting because this is a 501c3. And one of the things that turns my stomach the most is when these 501c3s get political. That should be off the table. Never, ever, ever, ever should you be able to avoid taxes and get political at the same time. They don't allow it in churches. So the two co-founders are Jamie and Claire Atkin. And, so what they do is they routinely target news outlets and platforms that do not adhere to their political views. So they're also, I believe they named 10 other John Does or Jane Does in this. So those individuals will be identified, but it's a lawsuit about really being defamed. It's very, very interesting. And I think this is the type of stuff that's going to be really start permeating the public, because it's lawfare is what took us down. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to use lawfare, as President Trump keeps saying, in order to bring us back.
Isn't it fascinating, though, that all the companies that are allowing free speech, Rumble, Twitter, they're being attacked and they're going after the advertisers,
right?
Which is the fun that it funds them, right? That's where they get their money from.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is very, very, very crazy. So, Robert, what do we do on a cold, rainy day?
Well, pea soup is probably not in the offing.
No, I don't have that under swag at screwbiggov.com just yet. And I don't eat pea soup either. But look at that beautiful jacket. Folks, this is a very warm, beautiful a very high quality jacket. I'm sure there's some people in the chat right now that have one. That's a beautiful embroidered logo of ScrewBigGov right there. And you can get 20% off of that and some other items at screwbiggov.com. Just go to there and click on swag and look at those beautiful people wearing the jacket. It's really, really cool. We're very, very proud of this. So use the code GET20OFF. GET20OFF. And if anybody understands my cost, this is not a huge moneymaker for us. Now, in full disclosure, it is a great branding opportunity for us. So even though it's not a moneymaker, if we can get our name out there more, ultimately that brings more people to our channel. So we'd appreciate if you wear that or other swag. There's a bunch of other stuff in there that you can check out, and I think you'll really love it. That's at screwbiggov.com, and just click on swag.
Remember, get 20 off is the offer code. When you're going to check out, it'll ask you for an offer code, get 20 off. All one word, no spaces.
Yep. GET20OFF.
Awesome.
Now, this is interesting, and this is contradictory to some of the information that I've heard, but let's. So, two things. One, I've had from pretty credible sources that a lot of the military actually got placebo. Now, full disclosure, that's completely counter to what I've heard. So that doctor seems very credible to me. And how sad is it that people that are willing to put their life on the line for this country are being attacked just because they were supporting this country. It's scandalous. And did you hear one of those statistics? I believe was 963%. Dramatic pause. Waiting for Robert.
I don't have any words. You know, that's a challenge with this. It's like you hear all these numbers, and they messed with the military database, by the way. They really screwed with it in an attempt to hide these numbers, because they started looking at them at the end of 21. There were a lot of doctors that were going in and said, you know, VAERS is not reliable. It's only 1%. And they've been censoring. There were some VAERS reports that they had the number, and they went back in and they looked, and there was a patient was a male. All of a sudden, the report shows it was a female. Right? They changed the information. So they were using the same numbers, and they were mucking with it. So they're like, VAERS is no longer responsible. But the military database, that one was accurate until they started messing with it. But these numbers are shocking. They really tell the story of what's going on. And I heard Iceland is now banned, and they're injured. Their health has not been the same since.
Yeah.
And he's doing little things here and there to help them, but he says there really is no solution yet. And we're still waiting for solutions, and there's so much complexity in it. And it's like we're getting 4 or 5 things here, and then they're this ones. No, you do this, and then there's someone like, well, drink your own urine, or it's like, and there's so many different things, and it's like, well, what really works? And we haven't gotten there yet. We're going to get there. I believe we're going to get there.
Well, I think we are. In fact, on another note, several countries recently issued rejection letters or indicated reservations in response to the WHO's, the IHR, which is International Health Regulations.
Right.
That's an amendment that they have. And actually countries now are saying, nope, we don't want to have anything to do with you. And we've actually had senators from the United States who are saying, no, we disavow anything that you put out because it's not credible. I think that's a big deal. We'll see, but let's skip forward a couple stories just because it ties together so well. So the CDC right now, and honestly, if I remember, it's a sub variant of the Omicron. So very, very interesting. And it's because they've seen an uptick in cases, and this is what it is. So it's also known as the Pyrola variant. And here's what I think is very notable, though. So they're saying that 30 mutations are on its spike protein. I want people to hear this really quick. 30 mutations are on its spike protein. This is according to the CDC. What words did we just tie together? Spike and protein. We've disclosed here, and probably most of the Patriots have disclosed over the years. Good weapon, we'll see. But there's a lot. I would say 50% of the Patriots think I'm wrong, and they don't think it even exists. And I did used to believe that, but this flu that people got, and I know a lot of people that got it, and I believe I had it myself also, was so extreme, nothing we've ever seen before. So that was some type of something, right? And it wasn't the normal flu that other people were getting.
No, and when I had it too, the symptoms were not normal. They didn't follow a normal course of regular flu or anything like that. It was very, very different. And I think a lot of people said that their experience of it was that it was very different as well. And the studies are showing too that the people who wear the masks are the ones who got it the most, ironically. And now they're going back into masking. And it's like, guys, if you read the studies, if you pay attention to the information that's out there and publicly available, you would see the mask is the problem. And I've always said the mask is like a filter, right? And what it is so if you walk by somebody who's got the virus, they create this plume. If I'm walking with no mask, I may get a little bit. If I breathe, I may get none of it. But if I've got a mask on, what's going to happen? All of it's going to stick to the mask. I'm going to pick it all up. All those little droplets, right? And now they're on there, and I'm keeping breathing them. I'm going to breathe them in, breathe them out, breathe them in, breathe them out. And they go right through the mask. The mask does not stop them. They're too small. So I really always believe that the mask made it worse and made more people get sick than the opposite.
Well, if you just take the bacterial component of wearing a mask anyways, there's going to be a lot more people getting sick, right? Mm-hmm. And if you go to what you're saying, and the molecules will actually stay there longer, it makes common sense what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's one of these things. It's like, well, everything the government pushes, do the opposite because they don't have it right.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. Well, speaking about craziness, let's show a picture of that black face boy. How dare he? Look at that kid wearing that black face, that dirty dog, that horrible person. We need to cancel him. Oh, but let's show the video real quick.
Oh, boy, huh?
What? You mean it's not blackface? You mean the media was manipulating it and only showing one side of his face? Chalk. This is how he supports his team. That's it. He's been doing this forever. Has red and black. Oh, and by the way, he's Native American. Oh, go figure. God, did they eat crap on this one? But it's so disgusting how these virtue signaling pieces of crap will go after a little boy just having a good time. Just amazing. And his mom came out in his defense, which is great. But it's just, in fact, it says, this has nothing to do with the NFL. Also, CBS showed him multiple times, and this is the photo people chose to blast to create division. He is Native American. Just stop already. Shannon Armenta. Good job, Shannon. I agree.
Well, we know the media is fake. We know that they have to create narrative and they have to create shock and awe, right? That's what they get the clicks, and it gets to be a real challenge when you change the model and you make the reporters incentivize them by the number of clicks they get, because then they create all this clickbait. Let's create controversy. How many people are going to that website now watching that? Even though it's wrong, even though it's false, even though it's a made-up story, normally get.
Absolutely.
They got a bump. And that's all that matters, because they made money. And you say, well, I don't click on the ads when I go to the website. Lewis, I never click on the ads. Just the fact that the ad shows up.
It's all about impressions anyways. It's not about clicking on it.
Yep. If the ad shows up, they've been paid.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So there's I call him a flamboyant Republican in Congress, that the Democrats are trying to make him the first one, I believe, in several decades to get him expelled from Congress. And hot. Robert, I'm going to let you take this one.
What do you want me to do with this one, Lewis? Really,
everything about it's so wrong.
But every politician does the same thing, right? It's like they always like, oh, they're getting accused of something, and I've seen Pelosi do it. I've seen them all do it. They go, well, I'm here to work for the American people. Only problem is they don't work for the American people. They work for themselves. It's the same story over and over again. Let's not answer the questions. Let's deflect, and let's talk about the economy, and let's talk about all these things that they're doing nothing about anyway. But let's change the subject, because the subject's on them now. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to talk about it. I can't make heads or tails out of this one. I don't know what this guy's about. It's just like he lied his way to get in, and now he's just like, they just probably need to get rid of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I get the Republicans are defending him because he's a Republican. Democrats are after him because he's Democrat. If he's a loser, he's a loser. Boot him. If I don't know if he's gay. He's very flamboyant, but if he is, that is a base that the Republicans are trying to grab. But again, this just goes back to what we keep saying here. There should be no political parties. It should not matter.
Yep.
What's your ethics? What's your integrity? What's your principles? What are you really going to do for we the people? That's all I really care about.
Yep.
I'm so sick of this political bullshit.
Gotcha. Same here. Stop playing the political games. We got a country to save. Hey, I'm doing it too. Hey.
Yes, we do. So now I'm having fun today, man. Because now we're going to go on to the virtue signaling Washington Post.
Are we going there, really?
Yeah. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're pausing all their advertising on X, otherwise known as Twitter. Why? Because Elon is bringing attention to Pizzagate. So, what the Washington Post is telling you,
people kind of live.
You need to take a what to get to it?
You take a ferry.
You have to take a Santos to get to it.
Got
it. So it's like the West Hollywood of California.
That's right.
Or the San Francisco.
Long Island people know, and they know
Long
from Long Island.
It's Long Island.
Long Island. You got to say it right. Remember the Jewish accent. You got to bring it up. A lot of Jewish people on Long Island.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. Interesting.
So going back to X, I mean, again, they're going after Washington Post and going after all the advertisers and trying to scare them off so Elon won't make money. And the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of advertisers out there. If it's not the Washington Post, it'll be the New York Post. You know what I mean? Go find someone else. It's fine. There's plenty of money. There's plenty of advertisers, and they're not afraid of the patriot community. Those that are, goodbye. You know what hurts them more in the long run? Because their stories are on there constantly, and now they pull their stories off.
Yeah, we never said they were intelligent.
No,
they're virtue signaling.
Oh, that's the marketing department. Those people don't know what to do.
It's the Bud Light thing. So it's just,
exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pull up an image right here, folks, and I think somebody finally figured out how to make a mask work. What in the world? She spent all this time to do a mask that she puts under her mask. So when she goes to the dentist, she takes off her big mask, but she's still protected. I'm going to do this, the Home Alone face. I just cannot believe this. This is crazy. Okay. This is so just I don't have any words. This is just so ridiculous, and it's crazy. But good on you. It looks fantastic. It looks like you just had a nose surgery. So congratulations on that. But let's just go through a couple little facts. You can get sick through your mouth and your nose, even your skin. But guess where you're most likely to get sick from? Through your eyes. Isn't that interesting? So maybe she should start covering up her eyes also. Where I think she should, everybody, in fact, this has got to be the new thing. Since we know that you're most likely to get sick through your eyes, right? Everybody should wear swim goggles from now on. That is the best protection from the flu, COVID, whatever you want to call it, right? Let's wear swim goggles. We nailed it, Robert. This is a new thing. Forget it, guys. No more masking up. Just wear swim goggles and everybody's going to be safe for the rest of their life.
I
Wow,
think she just put a bag over her head and stay home. You know,
that'd be a good idea.
Sorry, you're not fit to be out in public. You don't understand how any of this stuff works. It amazes me that when you raise the fear level high enough, people's intelligence goes right outside the window and they stop thinking. Oh, I'm so scared.
Yeah. I'll take it to another level. I think it goes right out the window when you enter the public school system and you go to college, because the indoctrination is so heavy. I mean, I've talked to cardiac surgeons, I've talked to pediatricians, engineers, architects, techie people, and they don't think. It's just like, well, what were we told? Repeat the mantra, and I'm like, these are 6 to 8 year educated people. Are you freaking crazy?
6 to 8 year indoctrinated people.
Well, absolutely.
Right. So yeah.
But and I have some in my family, and it just blows me away because I'm actually, to them, I'm stupid, and they're highly intelligent. Why? Because they're told that intelligence equals your degree, but it doesn't. Real intelligence is common sense, and be able to have some discernment and be able to break down a narrative without somebody telling you the way to think. That is true intelligence. And
your worth has nothing to do with your bank balance. If you're able to break that bond, break that connection, we all associate that with. And I always tell people, it's like, the truth of the matter is, I don't know what's in your bank account. You don't know what's in mine. I could be a millionaire. I could be broke. You'd never know. Right. And you've got to break that. Our association is we're as successful or as worthy as we have money to show that. But that's not true. That's an illusion. And we've been sold that illusion. If we don't break that, then we're totally beholden to it all the time. And the education system's the same thing. I've got that paper. I'm intelligent. No, you memorize some things and you pass some exams. Very good.
Yeah.
But you have common sense.
I'm not against people getting degrees. Right. I'm against the indoctrination that goes in order to get the degree.
Correct.
So if they can somehow figure out how to get a degree or certificate or whatever without the brainwashing, hurrah, congratulations to you. We need people that know stuff. But it's just so sad where the indoctrination system has gone, and that's what it is.
Yep.
So how about we go?
I'm missing a video here. I'm looking for the next video you were about to promote here.
Oh no, the Saving the Baby Impala one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me go look. Maybe it's in there.
Let's see.
It is in there. Okay. Let me pull it up. Just give me 2 seconds here. Just entertain the audience for a moment.
No, so this will be a little paradigm shift for everybody. I think it'll be really, really cool. You're going to see an animal that would be considered a predator taking care of something that's considered prey. And it's very, very interesting. I think heartwarming, and it's a good WTF moment. Before we close out, guys, I'd like you to see it. And I'm just in the business, I'm stretching.
You're stretching. You're
protected from the hyena. That was pretty amazing.
I'm just fiddling with buttons over here. Don't mind me. Just trying to get things queued up.
I don't need to know what you do in your private time, Robert.
I got to keep the show rolling. I got to make it look like it's flawless every single day, right?
Yep, it is. You do a great job. Folks, do us a favor. Please like, follow, and share this. Make sure you are subscribed, right? And any of sponsors, I know we didn't talk about many today, but, do your due diligence. We try to help you out. If you can help us out, that would be fantastic. I'd like to play with Robert a nice little video I think was kind of motivating for everybody. And then we will see you tomorrow. And folks, I haven't had a chance to get to all my emails yet. Again, I promise that I will. I don't promise I'll respond to everybody, but I'll do my best over the next few days to get to all of them. So God bless everybody. We've got this. We do.
We do. Absolutely.
You have to be the change that you want to see.
Yep. So we'll play this video and we'll play our outro, and we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same channel. Can't wait to see you all.